109 right now.
Say it isn't so, folks. Say it isn't so. Bruce's Beach is not going to be returned to the family after all. Within the last 3 hours, this is the news report that has, this is the latest news that's been broken. That Bruce's Beach. Okay, let's catch you up to speed. Manhattan Beach, California, is where a strip of the beach, a large area that 100 years ago was owned by a black family, on which that land had a resort. The resort was built there, and it was to cater to African Americans. That property that was owned by the Bruces or the Bruce family was taken by eminent domain, taken by the government. It was seized by the government. And the Bruces, of course, were not compensated, or if they were, it was just a pithy amount, a very small, minor amount of money. We received news within the last 2 years that Governor Gavin Newsom would work to put the money, put the ownership of the strip of land in Manhattan Beach back into the possession, back into the hands of the African American family. This was a great gesture. This was a great victory for the Bruces, for the Bruce family, for the Bruces, but also for African Americans, and just for America, you know, righting its wrongs, for the righting the wrongs of the American government. Now, from all the reports, it seemed as if the Bruces had received the money, or received the ownership. You know, that's a funny thing that I just said, because I didn't I didn't see the Bruces, any of the descendants, the grandchildren, the great grandchildren. I didn't see any of them signing documents. I saw them at the beach. I saw pictures taken, you know, and I saw interviews with the members of the family. But no, I didn't see any actual documents signed. I didn't see any documents. So whether the Bruces have received any money, or and whether this story is untrue, unfounded, or that, you know, if it's just a turn in the events surrounding Bruce's Beach, you know, I really can't speak to. I can't definitively say. But here's what I can say. Here's the philosophical turn, or excuse me, spin that I'll put on this. America, I didn't say it, but someone said it. I've heard it recently. America is a corporation. And greed, as Gordon Gekko said in the movie Wall Street, greed is good. All right. Now, I'm not saying greed is good. What I'm saying is Gordon Gekko said greed is good in the movie Wall Street. But you know, these same principles, these same ideas they loom large in America among the populace. And it's very sad when the average citizen puts his or her trust and faith in the US dollar, these pithy, these worthless Federal Reserve notes, and rather than putting their trust and their faith in, you know, each other, in humanity. And so you have a mad dash, a scramble for us to grab these dollars, these pieces of paper, in hopes that they will bring us security and happiness. That's where we are. We are searching for these dollars, but that stuff doesn't, that's not the key. But this is where we are, and this is, it shows, our society shows it, that that's where we are. We have more trust in these pieces of paper than we do in communities, in each other, you know? And so it's very sad news regarding Bruce's Beach. But it's also um, very indicative of, where we are, where America is as a society, where the U.S. government, it's very indicative of whether the U.S. government can be trusted. Like, apparently not. Our history of the American government shows that the American government, just like any other private organization, isn't really working with the good of the people in mind, but rather with the principle or with the ideals of the economy. You know, do follow the dollar. And that is horrible. And so rather than do what is right, the the government, this news story says that that the property at Bruce's Beach is going to be sold to the county of Los Angeles and not given back to the people, but it's going to be sold to another government organization rather than to the family. Okay, that's the news right there, and that's just horrible, horrible. There are countless examples of African Americans finding ourselves, um, up against our government and losing. The one example, or the second example, the Bruces, they're the first example. The second example is um, this Berkeley Square. I learned about this a week or so ago, and I was devastated, saddened by what I had learned. Berkeley Square is the name, Berkeley Square once existed in Los Angeles. It was an area, it was an affluent community. Large homes were situated there at Berkeley Square. And then 70 years ago, the U.S. government, city of LA, whomever, the state of California, decided to construct the freeway, the 10 freeway. I drive the freeway daily, right over their property, effectively taking the property from these black families who resided in these homes in the Berkeley Square area. They took their land by eminent domain. Once again, in the case of the Bruces, it was eminent domain. In the case of Berkeley Square, again, it was eminent domain. They took their homes, uprooted these families, paid them a pithy, right? A pittance of what the home was worth, of what these homes were worth, and forced them to relocate to surrounding areas, surrounding communities. And then the 10 freeway was constructed. The families that lived there, that resided there, that bought into that community, where was their, why wasn't their American dream, you know, looked after? Why wasn't it protected? It's a shame. It's a real shame. And this is just an African American story. Of course, there are stories of our Chinese brothers and sisters that I just learned about. The Chinese massacre of 1871. Chinese massacre of 1871. There were about fewer than 200 Chinese in Los Angeles at that time when a white mob felt, what was it? that a Chinaman had wronged them. I forgot what deed occurred. Was it a fight? Was it a financial dispute? Was it a murder? I don't know. But whatever one Chinaman, one man of Chinese descent or woman of Chinese descent did caused the entire white community to attack. And they exacted their revenge, and they took it out on what they say is 10%. What was 10% of they wiped out 10% of the Chinese community at the time. So at the time there was fewer than 200. So there was, no more than 20 men, women, children, whoever. I think it was men, but they were murdered. They were hanged. I think the actual numbers, I think is either 18 or 19, but they were hanged. Can you imagine? I mean, that's some brutal. That's horrible brutality against a group of people, and I don't see that being any different than the acquisition, the theft of real estate by the government, and that theft acted or yes, acted against African Americans in the case, such as in the cases of the Bruces and the Berkeley Square residents. It's the same thing. It's the same thing. We gotta have to look beyond these dollars because these are private corporations. When we look at the Fed, the Federal Reserve, who prints this money, they have no there are no restrictions against them printing more money, more of this paper, and yet we think of these pieces of paper as measures of our success, as a way of determining how good a particular job is. We don't understand that when we put a dollar amount on something, that we are essentially devaluing its intrinsic value of humanity, of nature. When you put this dollar on it, that perverts what truly valuable what true value that thing has. So it's deep. It's deep, y'all. It's very sad to hear. Hopefully, this news is not true. Maybe it's a false report, but uh, think about that. A false report? Could that be? This story has. I learned about this story through KBLA, Tavis Smiley's radio station, KBLA Talk Radio, progressive talk radio, unapologetically progressive. It's the only black owned radio station west of the Mississippi. And within the last maybe 4 hours now, they've reported that the decision to return the property at Manhattan Beach, known as Bruce's Beach, to the family, the Bruces, or to the Bruce family, has been overturned, or the direction that this case is taking is going in another direction, whereby the property will be sold to the county of Los Angeles, and it will not be returned to the Bruces. Very, very sad news. Let's hope that some other news, some other developments will be released so that a happier ending and one of greater uh, progress for African Americans in this country will definitely be, shown through by the actions of the government, but by the by looking at history, this is just, if you look at history and you know what the U.S. government has done in the past, this is just typical of what the U.S. government does and can do. And it's very, very sad that it has occurred at this time. So this is really, really awful, horrible news. All right. Peace and blessings. Be well. Try to. The only answer I see is step out the matrix. You got to step outside of the matrix. Um, America is the matrix. America is the corporation. It's difficult because the corporation has tentacles, hegemonic um, tentacles around the globe, military power, and so forth and so on. But hey, just yeah, you got to plant some shit, like Ron Finley said, because you can't be beholden to this paper. You've got to really be aware of what's going on and not a sheep. Am I sounding like Alex Jones? Nah, I haven't stepped over the bounds. I'm not doing anything like that. No, none of this Kanye West wild talk. But at least, brother Ye has freed his mind. So, free your mind. Peace.
You're at 109 right now.